In this video, we are going to set up our routes. The Express framework exposes an excellent API for defining routes. In our application, we are going to be mainly dealing with GET requests, but the API is the same for other HTTP verbs like post, put, and delete. The anatomy of a route in Express consists of a verb declaration, such as GET, a path name, which may contain one or more parameters, and finally a callback function that takes a request and response object as parameters. There are, of course, more advanced options, such as route-specific middleware, but we'll omit these for the introductory course. Our application is going to have 4 routes: the home page, a top queries page, a results page, and finally an API route that will return JSON data. Let's get started. Open up the routes.js file in the app directory. To define our routes, we're going to need to get the instance of our app object from the server.js file. There are multiple ways to do this. The way we recommend doing it is to pass the app object in as a parameter to our routes.js file. First, let's define our routes. We'll start by declaring that all of our code will be exported. To do that on our first line, we'll write module.exports and we'll export a function. So we'll write module.exports and set it to an empty function. Remember that we want to pass in our app object, so we'll add it in as a parameter. Now we have access to our entire app object in our route.js file. Let's write our home route. To do that, we'll write app.get to declare that the route is going to be accessed via a GET request. Then for the path, we'll just pass a /. We'll scaffold out our callback function and add the correct parameters to capture the request and response. Many Node developers will shorthand these two variables with REQ for request and RES for response. And in this course, we'll follow that approach. Let's talk a bit about the request and response parameters. The request parameter is an object that contains all of the details of the HTTP request. Data you'll find here includes any route parameters, the IP address that the request originated from, the body of the request if one exists, and more. The response object, on the other hand, exposes many methods for handling the response from the server. Here, you can decide how to send data back to the client. You can return a JSON object, an HTML view, a file such as an image or video, and more. You can also set the status code of the response, such as 200, when the request is successful. For our home route, let's just send a message for now that says you are on the home page. To do this, we'll use the response.send method. Write res.send and pass in this is the home page. Let's do the same for the top queries page and the results page. I'll just copy and paste and make the edits. For the API route, let's return a JSON object. Instead of using res.send, write res.json and pass in an object with one attribute for the message. For the message, we'll write, "This is the API page." Save this file and open up your server.js file. Here we will import our routes. We can easily do this by just writing require and the name of our routes file. We won't set it to a variable this time. This will load and execute our route function as soon as the server.js file is executed. But remember, our routes function requires the app parameter. To pass the app object into the routes file, we can simply add a set of parentheses right after the require declaration and pass one or more parameters. Let's do this now. Navigate to localhost 8080 in your browser and you'll see the message, "This is the home page," displayed. Remember, we are just scaffolding our routing in this video. To test these routes all work, try to navigate to the other 3 routes we created. If all the routes load okay, you are good to continue to the next video.